where Norman was born in 1938, and where he did operate the museum and did so many other things. Before that, he moved to Cleveland, Ohio. But just to go back a little bit, he was born here in 1938. His ancestors were some of the founding members of the African American community here. From as early as 1906, some of his relatives migrated here from Virginia as coal miners. And that was really the beginning of the African American community that actually developed over the years. Of course, when the mines began to play out and people had to find other means of employment, his family, along with several others, moved to Cleveland, Ohio, where factory work was booming. And so Norman, as a teenager, ended up going to Cleveland. He had become interested in and exposed to poetry before leaving West Virginia. And he started writing poetry as a teenager once he was in Cleveland. He went to high school in Cleveland. He did 4 years in the Navy after high school. And when he got out of the Navy, he was really beginning to write more and more poetry. But not many people knew about Norman Jordan and his poetry at that time. Occasionally, he would be on a local radio program and people would hear some of it. Or they might have seen him driving around in his Cadillac, an old Cadillac, with poems painted on it. So, he wasn't well known during that period. But then the civil rights movement developed in the 1960s, and his poetry began to reflect what was going on at that time, and he became more popular as a poet within the Cleveland area. And as with most social and political movements, there is an artistic component that usually accompanies it. And so that's what happened with the civil rights movement. And that artistic movement became known as the Black Arts Movement. And he became a major figure in the Black Arts Movement. So that's kind of like where I want to start with our day's program. During that period, and him becoming more well-known, Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland did a film about him as a poet. And it's entitled Dead Ends, New Dreams. And it's a mini film, it's only maybe 20 minutes long, but we'll watch that first. He was co-founder of Black Ascensions magazine. He has performed his works at Caramel House Theater in Cleveland, Albany State College, where he was writer in residence in 1976, Howard University, Allegheny College, and several other venues. His publications include Diary of the Genius of 2000, Cecil the Prophet, The Cry of Beauty. He has 2 short stories, A Scheme in Every Scene, and then Second Schemes. And his most recent book of poetry is entitled Pouring Shade. And he's actually been called a word magician. And I think that he does write very, very poetically, even in his works that are not poetry collections. And I could see that how someone would give that label to him. Herzog considers Norman Jordan to have been his mentor. They were close friends for many years. They're both part of the Black Arts Movement. They read along with other people in that movement that you are familiar with, like Amiri Baraka, Nikki Giovanni, Quincy Troop, Eugene Redmond, Gwendolyn Brooks, and several others. He says that he would do anything for Norman Jordan. I'm honored that he's with us today. So welcome, Hazal and Yubaway.
Yes.